Whether you bond over streaming binge-worthy videos, watching sports recaps, video gaming, or by unplugging altogether, the 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid helps keep you connected throughout your journey. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Available connectivity features and functionality vary by model. Package pricing, trials, and term lengths vary by model. Video streaming and games are only available while parked.
No question about that. It's supported by you, our listeners, through patreon.com/NQAT pod, where you can get access to our weekly ad-free bonus episode talking about football around Premier League and Europe. This is the midweek pod, well, sort of, with me, Ed, and Daniel, who is back from holiday. Daniel, we had messages asking, had you been sacked? Had you died? Where were you?
All of the above.
Fired him, yeah. I checked your performance results, and I was like, yeah, gone.
I was in Ghana. And as I've definitely said on here before, never forget what a privilege it is to be able to go to such an awesome place. Yeah. Anyway, but as family. And it was also the site of some of the greatest parties in the world at this time of the year. To the point where it's just like, fucking, you got home yesterday and you're like, never nice to come back from holiday, really. But you're also sort of, Christ, quite pleased that you have to go out again. There's just stuff that you feel like, I can't miss that. So the night we got there, Black Sharif was performing. He's our favourite singer, and that both, according to me and my wife, the greatest recording artist in the world. Really check him out. And his album they released last year is millions of times better than anything else I heard. So he was playing. We've interviewed him. So we're friends with his PR guy. So we're backstage for that. So it's pretty much airport to there. And in classic Ghana style, been told he was on at 8. Finally comes on sometime after 12 and he's still playing at 4. Because he does this thing, which is a really lovely thing to do, where he invites all sorts of different artists, some quite well known, others not well known, to give them some of his shine. So he'll play a bit, then some other lads will come on and do a bit, then he'll play a bit more, and so on. But at like 4 o'clock, in the morning, you're not so keen to hear and see people that you don't know who they are, or who are young, who are trying to make their way. Even though it is, as I said, a beautiful thing to do, you're just like, no, man. Like at this point, it's just got to be you to the end, and then. Sort of various other acts. When you kind of got to like the last 3 nights, we were doing that disco nap thing where you kind of go to bed at 10 to get up at 2 to be in the club till 6. And 3 of those in a row is a lot.
At our age, Daniel, it's a lot.
It's a lot at anyone's age. I mean, the last night, there's a Nigerian DJ called Dope Caesar. Look her up. Absolutely like genius DJ. And we've been wanting to see them for a while. And so we just had no option but to do it. And Mafariza, one of the inventors of Amapiano, this incredible music that came out of South Africa probably 5 years ago now, he was playing, what we're going to do? We've got to go. And it was a bit like that. And there's another South African act called Uncle Vinny. And it's just like, we've got to see him. What can we do? Well, our hands are tied. Our hands are tied! As Axl Rose once said. So yeah, it was an amazing time. But yeah, 47 is just 3 disco naps in a row and that kind of thing is taxing, man.
Not 18 anymore.
Pray for me.
Always, absolutely, yeah. All right. Well, you went away at a quiet time. Nothing was happening in Manchester United land at all.
Oh my goodness. So that's it as well. Last day of holiday, making sure like quality time in the pool with my daughter, all that kind of shit. And then it's like, oh fuck, they've sacked him so early in the morning. I didn't need this.
Well, I mean, post-Leeds, I saw that press conference. I came off recording the post-Leeds pod and went immediately onto YouTube to catch a press conference, and he did his last 2 minutes, watched that, and I was like, yeah, he's gone. He doesn't have the credit in the bank to do that. And it's come out since that he'd had this explosive meeting with Jason Wilcox on Friday where he'd freaked out. I mean, this might all be Wilcox's spin, of course, because, who's going to leak details of that? There's only 2 people in the room.
That's it, isn't it? Like, we haven't heard his side of that.
Not really.
We have heard the club side. And the thing is ultimately, You can't say he didn't deserve to get fired, really. But at the same time, it's pretty fucking disturbing that what got him fired was a bit of gobbing off about a bunch of dickheads who are more culpable than he is in what's come to pass.
Well, quite, yeah.
And something that I think hasn't been said enough, shit though he was, and by any metric he was fucking dreadful, he leaves United in a far better state than he found it.
I think that's true. I think we should give him some credit for the... I mean, it's a cliche now, isn't it? But the cultural reset. So getting some people out who are leaking, not performing, didn't want to be at the club. And I don't know whether the tactical side will rub off for the next guy or not. I mean, it sounds like at least Wilcox's team's spin is that the players weren't on board with some of this, didn't understand it, like would have liked to have played in a back four. That is apparently the message Wilcox gave to Amorim on the Friday before the freakout. So who knows? But I think like if it is going to be Ollie, we'll come on to Ollie in a bit. If it is Ollie that takes over as an interim, I think he probably takes over a better squad than he did in 2020 when he did. Now it's probably less suited to his style of play. But yeah, Amorim's done a lot. I think there's a lot of good around the squad and over the 18 months of Ratcliffe in terms of sorting out the club's ability to go spend and improve on what we've got now. There's a lot bad as well. A lot of bad. I don't know. I mean, of the current squad, of the Amorim people, like there's probably a fair bit of upside now because there's, I know Ugarte is not going to suddenly get better. Xerxes, who knows, in a different system might be better. And Kobe Mainu will definitely get space now that they didn't before. And a few other players have come on and improved, sort of, I guess.
It's that you can look at this team and be like, it's very easy to see how they can get good. If you stick a good midfield player in there and a right back, and ideally a left back too, but whatever, it's a pretty good football team. And the thing about Amorim in the end is also, he didn't earn any luck, but bad luck killed him. If you think back to Brighton, where you've got Welbeck coming off the pitch saying they've just been chatting in the dressing room about how United the best team they've played in quite a while. Some of the football they played against Bournemouth also, and I'm not saying it's because of Amorim. I think it's much more because of he's got good players. But what I'm saying is that if it wasn't for injuries to some really key players at bad times and coinciding with AFCON, I think he'd still have a job.
Yeah, maybe if he'd.
And I say that, and I'm not upset he's gone, but. If he'd have had Bruno, Ahmad and Bumo Mount for the last 3 or 4 games, could have beaten fucking Wolves.
Yeah.
Beaten Leeds as well.
He definitely didn't help himself, but you're very right. Like right at the end, it's all coincide. It's a little bit like, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but the end of Ollie, right? It's really the last 7 games that did for him. Because the record before that is not so bad, and then is just a dreadful run before he gets fired. And yeah, Amorim's, it's like bad stuff has happened altogether, perfect storm and all that. He'd set himself up a little bit for that though. And at least the clash with the club. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his emotional state is,
Yeah, I'm not absolving him at all. And we've said for a while on here, like, we don't think this is going to work. And he needs an all-time great footballer in almost every position to make it work in the Premier League. And that's not going to happen. And
he said it himself. Basically.
Yeah, and I totally understand why the club weren't prepared to give him money for players to play his way, because they knew at this point that they're probably going to fire him at the end of the season, at least.
Yeah,
because it was unlikely that what we were going to see was going to be good enough. But at the same time, between them, they seem to have signed an acceptable goalkeeper. Let's say we don't know quite how good. I'd like him to get a bit nearer to the ones he doesn't save, perhaps. Maybe needs to get a bit better coming out at one-on-ones. Like, he was beaten really easily the other day, I thought. But just that massive gap for Aronson. But he's young, and it's just, he breeds confidence. He claims crosses. He's okay. We can tolerate him.
We live with him, yeah.
And it's not just because the last 2 were so fucking useless. It's that no one's drawing attention to the fact that we don't have a good goalkeeper. He's got a goalkeeper, and Bumo's a good player. Cunha's a good player, and both those two are potentially good enough, I think, to be part of a team that contests big trophies.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like a particularly controversial thing to say. Then to that, you have Bruno.
Yep.
Ahmad is developing. We've seen Aiden Heaven is also developing. And then Martinez, we know, is a good player. Yoro, we know, has a lot of potential. And suddenly that's the nucleus of a football team.
Yeah.
And
I think if you were constructing an argument to defend Amorim, you'd say, hey, United are sixth, results are improving, the XG differential is much better than it was.
Yeah, it's the metrics, isn't it?
It's the metrics. What you can't defend him on, really, is his decision-making in key moments, especially in game, which has cost United a lot of points, the stubbornness around the system versus the players he's got, right? So
And results.
And results, obviously, 38% win rate overall and 31 point something in the Premier League.
It comes back to what we were saying, that do I see that his system could challenge for the league? No. And we've seen enough of it now. Now, if he's prepared to learn a different one, which I guess he was sort of trying to do, but again, according to the stories that were clearly leaked by United, he changed his mind before Wolves, like coaches them in 4-3-3 for the game, and then he bottles it at the end. And goes back to like taking the only centre forward you have off at half time and swapping defenders for defenders when you're chasing a game. And that's almost that Mourinho making sure you get fired, isn't it?
Felt like it, yeah.
Feels like he's given up by then.
Again, the story leaked out of the club is that he offered, he said he wanted out and he was calling his agent in that Friday meeting with Walcott.
But that's after Wolves, right?
That's after Wolves. So the Friday debrief before Leeds. That would have been the third time he'd quit or wanted to walk out during his time at United. And I think that points to perhaps his biggest failing, which is his total inability to manage his emotions. And football's an emotional sport, right? There's no, unless you're Carlo Ancelotti, you're not cool all the time, right? That guy can stand on the sidelines smoking a cigarette and you wouldn't know whether they were losing or winning. But Amorim just wore it all on his sleeve. Just too much, and
it's just all these things. Yeah, it's always going to be about results, isn't it? Really, because like we take the piss a lot out of little Artetas, and I still watch Arsenal now, even in this stage of the season when they win. It like feels desperate, doesn't it? But
he's always on the edge. Yeah,
but they're winning, so he gets away with it. Whereas Amorim had the worst record of any United manager in the Premier League era, winning fewest percentage of his games since fucking Franco Farrell, then it's very easy to look at him and say, that's not right.
No, absolutely.
It's weird, isn't it? Because when it started, he seemed so emotionally intelligent at the start. Like a guy who's obviously had a lot of therapy, yet isn't scared of admitting he's had a lot of therapy and explaining how it's helped him and talking about measure and all these things. But when you're manager of Manchester United, therapy is not necessarily going to be enough if you don't have it in you. And ultimately, how many people in the history of Manchester United have succeeded at this job?
Yeah, not many. I mean, it depends what measure you have. If your benchmark is the biggest titles, First Division, Premier League, Champions League, European Cup, then it's only 2. If your measure is slightly wider, then
Tommy Docherty was looked perhaps to be building a title-winning team, had beaten Liverpool, was playing beautiful United football, like exciting, thrilling football, and then got fired for sticking it up the physio's wife whilst sending the physio away on club business.
Rogue stuff, Tommy, rogue stuff.
And so arguably, you could say that Tommy Doc succeeded at the football bit and also had the personality. Ron almost got there, I suppose. Like 85, 86, I mean, Hughes was sold from under him.
Yeah.
And Robbo got injured. Without that, he might have succeeded, but you couldn't say that Atkinson was a success. But yeah, like very few people succeed at this job because it's difficult. It's so fucking difficult because you need the tactical smarts now more than ever because the game is more systemized. You need to be impervious to pressure. You need to be a man manager. You need presence. It's just like when you look at the potential candidates, and we're going to come to those in a bit. And we were talking about it with Amorim. Like when we looked at the set of candidates with the summer they should have fired Ten Hag, one of the reasons they didn't is because sort of felt like the outstanding one, I think, to us was Thomas Frank. And it was just like, that guy's not a United manager, really. You're just
personality, but not the rest of it. Yeah.
Or just, like, I like his interviews. I think he speaks interestingly about the game. He's got passion and stuff, but like, fucking come on, man. And we're seeing it now. He's drowning at Tottenham.
That's right. I mean, I think you're right on all of those things have to come together, and it's a particularly unique environment in terms of its pressure and focus. And I mean, if you just one metric, right? In the same week, Chelsea fired their manager and United fired their manager. Go look at your podcasts and articles. They're all about United. They're 95% about United because it's the biggest story in town in every country on the planet, basically. You know, it's that apocryphal story of explorer tries to find a long-lost tribe in the Amazon, never been seen by Western civilization before, turns up and he's got a Manchester United shirt on in the tribe, right? You know, and who knows whether that one was true or not, but it's just the focus is just so massive, and that's what makes this club great and makes it be able to survive dickheads running it for the last 20 years.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
It's the final chapter of the college football playoff.
It comes down to this.
Miami's unmatched grit and tenacity through the postseason has led them home. The national title now within reach.
They are confident. They are battle-tested.
Undefeated Indiana, led by Chris Signetti and Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza, have the chance to take home their first title and claim college football immortality.
The most remarkable turnaround in the history of college football.
The College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T. Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Same with, I mean, in Liverpool, same to a similar, but slightly lesser extent. And they got that guy with Klopp, and now they've got one that isn't that guy in Slot, and it's a fucking problem, even though Slot's probably quite good.
Mm. Yeah.
It's hard to do, and Liverpool's a club that's organised much better than United. I mean, that thing about Ratcliffe telling Amorim to play Mbuma at wing back. You're kind of thinking, of course you've got an opinion. Everyone's got a fucking opinion.
You don't have to listen to it, though. You shouldn't have to listen to it.
But it's like in your position, his position, they shouldn't have to listen to it as a boss, even if you're right.
Mm.
Like, obviously, like, ask him what he's doing because you're interested or whatever. But once it gets to a point of making suggestions, that's like, nah, man. Like, you're overstepping because you think that the size of your exchequer allows you to purchase the correct opinions.
Yeah.
When in actual fact, no, you're just a Tory cunt, ultimately.
It's billionaire dickhead syndrome, isn't it? And you know,
no. I think that's harsh. I'm absolutely certain he was like that when he was a mere millionaire.
That may well be true. Yeah, I know his type. We're seeing this at Chelsea as well, with Bowley apparently getting involved in team matters as well. And I did want to talk about this a little bit, because if you think about what Ratcliffe said when he came, he said best in class people. That's not true, because Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox have never done those jobs before. They may be great in time. Who knows?
But Wilcox has moved up, hasn't he?
He was months, though, at Southampton in that role. He was the head of the academy at City.
I saw some footage of him saying today that he's naturally a coach, so he's always interfering.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't come across as a legend of the game, does he? Someone you'd want to hang out. Someone you'd want to hang out with, really. That is what I mean when I say that. Or there's no evidence for his expertise, and that's part of the thing with this structural system. Like, when you have a manager like who's running everything, like omniscient manager, then you know whose fucking fault it is when it goes wrong. Suddenly, it's very easy to diversify blame.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though everyone knows there's plenty for everyone, it's like there's no clamour to fire Wilcox, is there? Because even though these are the guys, and there is something that is unpleasant about this. Like for me, like I never want to support the suits, the bosses over the workers with that Amorim, Wilcox, Barada, Ratcliffe relationship, and they appointed him. They kept on Ten Hag, so they'd made more bollocks than he has.
Very much so, and bigger, more consequential ones.
Even though they've tried to lump on him through the leaks of the last couple of days and not signing a midfielder, if they're the guys in charge of transfers, then that's also on them, really. I'm not saying you cannot go into a season without a midfield player. Football matches are more or less decided in midfield. Control of a football match definitely decided in midfield. Like now, there've been great United teams that, at least the 08 team, the weakest part of that team was definitely the midfield. But Michael Carrick and Paul Scholes were in it. It's just the other area of the team was better. 2013 also. Good defence, enough options in attack, not much in midfield. But you had Fergie. And also just the competition wasn't that good either at the time. But to go into a season, and it was so obvious, even dickheads like us were saying it, that if you could have the greatest centre forward in the world, you'd have Fat Ronaldo. But if you can't get him the ball, it's not going to matter. And we keep seeing it. And although part of me is like, well, okay, they've sorted the attack. Now next summer they're going to sort the midfield, sort of understand that. We are scoring goals. And if you look at how United are now, all right, that they have sorted two aspects of the team. They've sorted the goalkeeper. We're pretty much happy with that. They've sorted the goal scoring. Not totally happy with it because we need to see more from Sesko, but we are scoring goals. We look dangerous. You could say they've sorted that as well. So now they need to sort the next bit. Sort of say, okay. But to give a manager no midfield going into a season where last season was such a disaster, it felt like you're almost arranging to fire him in November. As it happens, it's lasted till January, but really only just. Like, if he hadn't beaten Liverpool, he might have I mean, if you think about like the Ineos Ratcliffe 18 months, well, I guess it's nearly 2 years in charge now. It is basically. What did they say? He said, best in class people, the question mark over that. Club style dictates and goes down, which is, director of football is the one setting the vision, basically. That didn't happen because Ashworth was hired and fired. Right. And they threw it out when on the 1st of November 2024, when they hired Amorim. No one else played 3-4-3 in the club or since, basically. And we said at the time, in the history of football, almost no team that was good has played three at the back.
Yeah, well, at least not in the modern era. They did in the olden days, but that was like,
Well, that's more 2-3-5. That's 2-3-5.
Yeah,
that's more like how you might build the play these days. But I mean, I think Argentina that won the World Cup in '86 maybe with three at the back, but they were shit. They just not shit, but they just had Maradona.
Yeah, they had Maradona. Yeah,
I mean, they had Valdano, obviously also could play. Blah 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 blah. But they had Maradona. Germany sometimes play three at the back, but otherwise you're kind of like, well, Venables of England, three at the back.
They did, didn't win anything though.
You can't say we're going to ignore the corners of the pitch. Never mind the fact that there's this United DNA stuff, which we can come to later about wanting to watch some wing play. I mean, part of me thinks, has the game moved on a little bit from that? Maybe. But yeah, and they said there was going to be a defined style, and then they went and appointed someone who wasn't going to play that style.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why they did it. I think he probably charmed them. Like, he'd done well as a coach, and
they did.
I'm sure he seemed extremely credible when they met him, because he seemed extremely credible to us too. And watching short enough interviews, I'm thinking, I want to hear more of this guy. This is interesting. Okay, let's see how it goes, with the caveat that I don't like this formation. I never have, because I feel like you're undermanned in every area of the pitch as a consequence of it.
The process of appointing him, Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth both said, well, no, the process of re-signing Ten Hag, Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth both said, not us, Gov. And then afterwards, which was interesting, and then with Amorim, basically Wilcox is saying, not me.
Well, they're trying to blame Barada for this one, aren't they now?
They're trying to pin it on Barada, but the final call was on Ratcliffe.
Yeah, maybe Barada's happy with that, because he needs Wilcox to be credible for the future success of the club, and also sort of for himself as being involved in the appointment of Wilcox. So maybe they even agreed that to try and, because Wilcox to continue needs to try and absolve himself of the blame. But also, it's not like there were millions of candidates
in the middle of the season. No.
Yeah, or even at all. Like, who are the great managers in world football now?
Well, we're going to come on to it in a little bit. Save that one, Daniel.
Like, there are. But what I mean is, like, there aren't many. There aren't many. Like, the only one who we know for sure who is going to go down as a proper great, Guardiola. Luis Enrique might later. I guess there are people that think Ancelotti is a great as well. I mean, I know you can't argue with what he's won.
Well, he's the last of the Fergie-style managers, I think, who's not a real tactician, but is a manager of men and all of that.
I think that's harsh on Fergie with the tactics, actually. In the counter-attacking football that we see, de rigueur now, Fergie sort of invented that. Also invented the rotation. So I don't know. And also Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, just like three indiscriminate strikers. So I think Fergie deserves a bit more credit for the tactics that he gets. Ancelotti, his sort of success always seems to come with other people's teams. And I'm not saying that isn't a skill. And he's won so much that you do have to put him up with the greats. But when you look at his Madrid team, I mean, if you're ranking it's players, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and Real Madrid will always have great players. Okay, so the people who've made the fuck-ups in the last 2 years, basically, and these three massive ones in rehiring Ten Hag or keeping him, and the Ashworth thing, and now Amorim, hire and fire, are the same people, basically, who are going to hire the next guy. Do we trust them to get it right?
No, of course not. I mean, but United will always be the right manager away from being good, whatever's going on above them. So, and I mean, I was thinking that relative to how I felt at the end of other tenures, it wasn't a situation like with Moyes, like it was with Moyes and Mourinho and Van Gaal, where I'm like, and Ten Hag even, where I'm fucking desperate to get them out. Like, my soul can't bear any more of this. I didn't actually feel like that with Amorim. I felt like once he got everyone back after AFCON, I felt like it was much more likely to get better than worse. Not better enough. This isn't me absolving him as blame, because I think it's much more about player quality. I mean, player quality will always be the most important thing, but I wasn't like desperate. Oh my God, how I can't believe I'm going to go to sleep another day with one of these manager of United. I didn't feel like that, and I don't trust these guys to pick someone good who's next. But there will be options.
There are a lot of options, yeah.
How would you rank the post-Fergie managers?
It's a good question. I mean, I think on record, Amorim's going to go down as the worst. I don't know that he is. I mean, I'd probably put Moyes as the worst, just because he took a better team and destroyed it. So,
I definitely have it. I definitely have more. And it is, as you say, it's difficult because I also don't think he was worse than Van Gaal. But Van Gaal won the cup, so what can you like? I mean,
yeah.
But I mean,
well, do we believe the Ollie thing where the league is a better benchmark than cup tournaments in terms of the progression of the team? But of course, we all want silverware, and that's how people generally rank managers. So yeah, Moyes the worst, but Amorim's got to come in second there. I mean, I know Van Gaal's football's absolutely dreadful, but he did win the FA Cup, and he had a reasonable
I'll tell you why I'm going. I might go for Amorim, Van Gaal below Amorim. Look what Amorim left. Look what Van Gaal left. He left something dreadful, disgusting.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of harm to United, Van Gaal, with the players he got rid of and the players he brought in. And it took us a long time to recover from that. And I don't think that's the case with Amorim. I think, like as I said, if we get the appointment right, if we get the appointment right and we buy well in the summer, and I think buying well in the summer, I think should be not that difficult to do well, because they know it's so obvious what we need now.
They know what they want, and the money is in theory there. We can get onto that in a bit. I didn't finish the ranking, so we've got Moyes, Amo, Van Gaal, or whichever way you want to put those two. Mourinho, because he did get United winning stuff, 2 trophies or 3 if you believe him.
And some second places.
Second place. And he was completely toxic by the end. But that was so predictable. That's got to be on the club because he didn't do anything that wasn't... If an alligator eats you, right? It's just doing alligator things. Mourinho falling out with players and becoming toxic. That's just Mourinho things. Don't be surprised. And then I guess I'm going to have to put Ollie as the best one because it was the best football. It was the best time we had. It was
the best team, but they won shit. They won jack shit.
They didn't win anything. Yeah, so it's a hard
Ten Hag.
Oh God, I forgot about Ten Hag. He won two trophies.
Won two trophies and beat City in the cup final, and that's one of the great days. Not just one of the great days in the post-Fergie era either, for me anyway. Like that's one of the great days in all my time following United about.
Absolutely, and the winning goal, Rashford, Mainu involved, academy players beating City at Wembley. It's brilliant. It's fantastic, as good as it gets, basically. But he was just an awful human. No personality. I just didn't like him at all. I wouldn't want to have a beer with him, not in the slightest bit interested, or that kind of cliched question, who would you have around for dinner? It definitely wouldn't be Ten Hag, So, and we knew that coming in, everyone said, well, he's got no personality. He's got no riz at all. And it turned out, and that is a big problem at Manchester United, big problem. So, yeah, I don't know. The trophies are great, but it unraveled in such an awful manner. That is also on Ineos, because honestly, if they hadn't made an emotional decision, like Ratcliffe, I was writing my Substack yesterday, and so I did a bit of research on what he said. He said after that, we couldn't separate whether the problems with the team were on Eric or on the club structure. And so we just left it as it is, basically, and I'm like, what kind of decision-making is that? From an owner or leader of the club. We couldn't make a decision, so we just left it as it was. And it's just dreadful, honestly, He should have been fired after that cup final, and they would have had a clean start to the season before last.
But they didn't really have anyone to appoint, and I think that probably was factored into the thinking.
Yeah. Well, they could have appointed Tuchel, but they'd had to give him more power than they are happy with in this structure of director of football and separating the functions. And so they decided not to, basically, and he moved on to England, which is interesting how, if you look at the big names who are around at the moment, a lot of them are in the international football. And I wonder whether it's for that reason, right? Modern football club structure, the manager is a coach. He has a much smaller portfolio and much less control than before. And only a few managers, even Ancelotti, has kind of been happy with that. It's kind of, until now, at Real Madrid, he had no say whatsoever over signings, just none. But he was just he'll coach them, and that's the modern people, and they have to be happy with that. But Tuchel has fallen out with Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund, and Chelsea over that. So if you hire him, and Conte does the same thing, right? That you're going to get that problem if you hire him. Mourinho is the same. Couldn't hire him again. Not that United would. And there are a lot of managers that just don't fit into that system. Amorim, we thought, when he was signed as head coach, that he would be, he understands the structure. It turns out that was a very expensive misunderstanding over who had power in this system. So, yeah, it is interesting. Well, I don't know. Shall we, now we've ranked the managers, do you want to talk about who's available? Because, in the summer, or do you want to talk Ollie and Carrick first?
And let's do caretakers. Yeah, so I'll tell you what, with the caretakers, and in my time watching United, the players that I've thought I'd be interested to see what they do in management. Ole was one actually, but another is Fletcher. Mm-hmm. And I know they couldn't appoint him, obviously.
No, it's too early, but I think he'll become a good manager. It's hard to say. He's got the tools. Yeah.
In recent times, Herrera and Bruno, the others, for what it's worth. But it's part of me would be like, I'd rather see Fletcher to the end of the season than either of the other options, because I guess we don't think that Ole is going to be good enough. And what I would say though about Ole is, people can say, well, it was like this last time, but at the same time, you've also got to be able to say he knows it was like that last time. He might have learnt. So, Carrick isn't someone I think could be a manager of United in the future. And I think part of the reason why, in my mind, I've sort of have been leaning Carrick rather than Ole is just to avoid the terrible bitching about Ole.
The culture war, I hate it.
I don't have the stomach for Yeah, I don't have the stomach for
having that conversation all the time. Yeah,
slagging Ollie off and making out like he's some kind of dunce that doesn't know anything about football, and that just isn't true. Like
it's obviously utter nonsense, and I think I think it's something about the social media age. Everything has to be a binary conversation. You can't have any subtlety. It's why I like doing podcasts, because we can have a 45-minute conversation about something rather than it having to be 180 characters or whatever you get on Twitter, right? And everything's reduced to one poll. It's either the worst player in the world or they're completely shit. He's either the best manager in the world or he's completely shit.
Yeah, and I think really what cost Ole in the end, it wasn't like I'm sure he could have done with some tactical smarts, but also McKenna is known to be an excellent coach, and he was there. Carrick is also able to coach. He was there too. I think what cost Ole in the end was the signings. Like the money was spent badly under Ole. Although we're seeing now that Ahmad gamble is coming to fruition, and there's one deal that I'm sure I've said this a million times. If he'd spent the Maguire money on Rice, and this isn't being wise after the event, I'm sure we said it at the time. I definitely wrote it at the time. The midfielder was much more important than another crap centre back. We had plenty of those. If he'd spent the Maguire money on Rice, things might have worked out differently. He's also not entirely responsible for how badly Maguire and Shaw played after the Euros. At the time, he was trying to evolve the team from a team that was devastating on the counter to one that could control things, but at the same time, you can't control things without midfield. As Amorim has also found, as we've been watching with United teams, that even in the Fergie era, towards the end of the Fergie era, weren't that good at controlling. We had Scholes could do it, but we were neglecting the midfield because of the debt, basically.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fair, yeah. And Ronaldo, I mean, he was very expensive in terms of his wages, and also I think like history will show us very disruptive in terms of like his influence on the squad, and not necessarily in a positive way.
At the time, I want Ronaldo back for reasons that have nothing to do with football. Anyway, I guess I hoped that he'd just be an upgrade on Cavani, and who was great in the first year, but he wasn't prepared to play the kind of game that Cavani had played.
No, he just wanted to stand there and wait for the ball to come to him. And that did not fit with Ole football at all.
It doesn't really fit with any kind of winning football at that level. And so, yeah, the incomings were terrible under Ole, and I felt like that was what cost him, really.
But assuming it's a short term and they wouldn't do an emotional decision after he wins 18 on the bounce and United win the title, give him an 8-year contract.
If he does, you do have a decision to make. If he does really well,
it'd be an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of takes that are basically along the lines of, I don't want Ole to come in because he might win every game to the end of the season. They'd give him a 5-year contract, which is an interesting take, I've got to say.
I mean, it's in the back of everyone's mind, isn't it? Like, not so much with Ole, because a lot of people have made their mind up about him, but definitely in the back of my mind, Fletcher, what if he's good?
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning. Carol is fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Psst, just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright Eyed Berry or Up an Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
Yeah, what if he's good? Yeah. Well, he'll probably only get 1 or 2 games by the looks of it. if we assume it's Ollie, and it might not be because at the time of recording they haven't announced this, and apparently they're doing final interviews today. Maybe they should have all three of them. Honestly, the brains trust. What's wrong with it? Yeah, they should do a Curtis and Sillett for the old uns who remember 986 and bring them all in. But just having a termination date very clearly. You're here till the end of the season, and then we're going to appoint a full-time coach. We love you, Ollie, but we want to move on to something else. And you just do that, then it's all right. I guess my bigger question with Ollie is, if we assume he's going to play more counter-attacking football, that's what he really wants. He'll go to a 4-2-3-1 and play that. Do we have the players for that? It's a slightly different makeup of the squad now. Could he play that way? I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to his team were brilliant on the counter, but I don't think that he'll want to play counter-attacking football. I think he'll want the counter-attack in his armory, but ideally he'll want to control games. The question is, doesn't he have the players? But now you look at this team, you're like, right, 4-2-3-1, let's say that's what it is. You can quite easy.
Construct a team for Ollie then. Lohmann's in goal. Mazraoui or Dalot right back. Mazraoui.
Yeah, suboptimal
when he's back.
In either case. But one of him or Mbumo's coming back on Friday anyway.
Who are your two centre-backs of the many options?
At the moment, Heaven and Martinez, I guess. Yeah. I mean, they're both their footers.
Heaven's progress over the last month has been great. I mean, not perfect. His positioning is sometimes a little rash, as we saw for the Leeds goal. He just got himself on the wrong side of the blind side of the player. But his defending, his passing is very good. His control of the ball is excellent.
And he's earned that place. I mean, he's the man in possession. I mean, it's a problem. Like De Ligt and Maguire's, I mean, I can't think of too many occasions. If Martinez stays fit, I can't think of too many occasions when I want to pick them necessarily. Then left back, I guess I'm going for Shaw. Then Casemiro, mainly Bruno.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad midfield. I mean, it's got. Does he have? It doesn't exactly have the legs.
No, it doesn't, because you have to sign someone to replace Casemiro.
Yeah,
but Mainu as the other man in the pivot. If he can't play, if you sign a monster to replace Casemiro and Mainu can't play with him and Bruno, say, then you start to say, well, maybe Amorim was right. Maybe Mainu is in fact the problem.
He's the link player in that three.
Yeah, if you can't play with a 6 and a 10 of proper quality as an 8, then what are you?
Yeah. No, I think he can, and it could be proven wrong, of course. But I think that's his role. I mean, I've said it before. The benchmark is someone like Modric, that kind of player who plays between a 6 and a 10 and links the play, and then like your front three, or Acuna, Sesko, and Mbuma. I guess Acuna's the slightly odd man out there because he has to play narrower to be effective, or Ahmad. Yeah.
So you might play Sesko, you might play Cunha, Bruno, and Mbumo behind. Sorry, Cunha, Bruno, and Ahmad behind Mbumo. You could also do that.
Yeah.
But you've got an option, which is helpful. But
and look, if you're saying it's short term with that team, with everyone back fit, and you do have a lot of options because we haven't even mentioned Mount, who's actually had a pretty good season when he's fit. Of course, he gets injured just at the time he's playing well, and covering most areas now, especially defensively. Ollie coming in, vibes bounce. European football is right there for the taking. Even Champions League football, it's not wildly the results will be good enough, and the results around us have been bad enough that we're on for a 60-point season, which wouldn't normally get you Champions League football, right? But 5th place will almost certainly get Premier League another Champions League spot because of how well the other English teams are doing in Europe this year. And that is on. That could be 62, 63 points, and it's on.
Merely sensible husbanding of this squad should get you 5th minimum.
Yeah, and that's probably a place in the Champions League, which means not one midfielder in the summer, 2.
Yeah, you need to, because if you get one, they get injured, you're back where you were to begin with. So you do have to get 2, even if the second one isn't a first choice, because ideally you want your first choice, Mainu and Bruno. Let's say you want that to be your midfield. You do need 2, and then you need a left back and a right back.
Well, we're just assuming that it'll be a 3-man midfield now from now on, because pretty much whoever you appoint will want that, unless they go and appoint Conte
or Glasner.
Or Glasner, although Glasner's been very flexible over his career. He's played a lot with 3.
There's not that much evidence of him having played 4 in recent times.
Not in recent times.
He'll obviously say, if he came to United, he probably would play 4. But waiting until the end of waiting until the summer to get him is, not my idea of a good laugh, I must say.
Well, okay, let's go through some of the candidates. There's we talked briefly on the reaction pod about the odds, but if you look at just the managers who are out of contract, you've got kind of a few groupings. I think there's up and comers from around Europe. There's the Premier League experienced managers, and then there's those who are in international jobs. Of the Premier League experienced managers who are going to be available, Iraola and Glasner definitely out of contract in the summer and almost certainly moving on, right? Glasner's had months and months and months to sign a new contract with Palace. He's not going to do it. And I think Iraola wants to move to a bigger job. There's question marks about both. Isn't there? Glasner with the system particularly, can that kind of football, which has been kind of defensive and...
It's reactive.
It's reactive football. Does that fit United? Not really. Iraola's a bigger question because I think people really like him and think he's a really smart coach, but he's played the kind of football you have to play at a club like Bournemouth to get the best kind of results, and that is not going to translate well to United, at least not to United fans.
Agree.
But is he smart enough to play an attacking, possession-heavy style of football at the top level?
Yeah, I agree. I like him. I like Iraola. I'm not sure that he's got the force of personality that I'd want, and I'm sure that Glasner doesn't. Yeah. But he plays aggressive football, but as you say, that kind of transitional based football isn't going to work in the biggest matches probably, or at least reliably so. As in, what Bournemouth try and do is they'll try and basically put a cage around where the ball is and try and make it really quick game. Yeah. But we said it before the United game, I think, and we definitely said it after the United game as well, that you hit a switch and all of a sudden half the pitch is available.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he doesn't have other ideas.
Because they're so aggressive on the press, yeah.
Yeah, it means neither him nor Glasner can supply evidence that says they have a game style or whatever. What do people call it now? Not
game model.
Game model. Like it's they have a game model. Like it's like some sort of human that you fancy or something that have a game model that translates and that scales up, as people now like to say. So of the two, I prefer Iraola because I can see aggressive intent, and I think that's essential. But I wouldn't go for either of them.
No, both of them are a risk. But it's interesting that the noises leaking out are, Prem experience preferred. Of the current managers in the Premier League, there's no one else you would take, though, is there? Am I missing anyone? I definitely don't want Behetti. Sean Dyche, yeah. Oh, dearie me.
Well, Eddie Howe's ruled himself out, but
he wasn't in, was he?
There are a few that have got me saying, if it's him, I'll do fucking time. And Eddie Howe's one, and Gareth Southgate is another.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm going on a spree.
I have no evidence that I have no information, but the Athletic people keep saying he's never been an option. So let's hope that's true. On the international side, there's a lot of managers going to be available after the World Cup, but you do have to wait a long time to get them, and you might be able to have a side deal where you agree it, but you probably don't get to say it out loud after the whole Spanish fiasco a few years back. So Tuchel, there's a very good way. He's out of contract with England, so unless England win the World Cup, he's probably gone. There's an option there.
Surely if England win the World Cup, he's gone anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
Tuchel is credible in terms of what he's done. He definitely got the strength of personality, but
they rejected him last time.
Did they reject it, or did he reject them?
Either or, it's the same saying. We didn't fancy you anyway. Was basically
quite defensive, I'd say.
Quite defensive.
That'd be my problem with Tuchel.
Yeah,
and
he also wants control, which they're not going to give him.
And he's also got a comb over, which I can't really
which is terrible
in the United manager.
No, I know, it's unacceptable. There's Nagelsmann's not out of contract, but you can. He's going through to the next Euros, but you can kind of see things. If things don't work out with Germany, if they don't win the World Cup, there's a good chance he'll leave. I mean, I would very much enjoy him at United. I know he has no international experience whatsoever, but there's two reasons. One, he plays attacking football. He's going to play with a system that suits his current squad. And just for the style on the sidelines. We can comment every week on what he's wearing. Brilliant.
Can I legitimately accept a United manager who turned up to play at Old Trafford wearing that jacket and got gubbed 5-0 Biole? I mean, he's definitely one of the ones that I would find most interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he might be top of my list. I don't know. I haven't actually done a ranking yet. I should probably do it at some point. And think, not that my opinion means anything whatsoever, but, just for content, because everything's content these days, isn't it? Have you seen, talking of rigs, have you seen the new trend? Everyone is out buying the Nike, as they say in this part of the world, the tracksuit that Nicolas Maduro was wearing when he was arrested. I know, it's all over Instagram. It's amazing. I'm sure, yeah. Is there anyone, Carlo Ancelotti? He's only just taken the Brazil job, but one would imagine he would probably be available if they don't win it. He's too old, though, isn't he, to come to United?
I don't think it's necessarily an age thing. It's just where football is now. I think United need more than vibes. I think, and I'm not saying he just delivers vibes, but he wouldn't be my choice at this point. And then I guess I'm semi-interested in Xavi, who did a good job in difficult circumstances at Barcelona. I guess my wonder about Xavi is...
But if they're not appointing him now, they're not going to appoint him in the summer. There's no point doing an interim.
Are you able... would you be able to play Barcelona football in the Premier League with the players you're going to get?
That is the question mark, and it's a fair question, I think.
I'm much more interested in... I would prefer Xavi to... fucking Eddie Howe, or probably to Iraola and Glasner as well.
Maresca is also available. Again, the same problem there.
I don't get him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's worked with Wilcox also, but at no point did I watch Chelsea and go, oh, there's something building here. I can see where this is going. I always watched Chelsea and thought, nah, man.
Yeah,
I'm not concerned about Chelsea. Like when we played them early in the season, I was pretty confident we were going to beat them. I didn't feel like he properly worked out a way of playing. And there was one that they played Arsenal last season. They lose 1-0. Arsenal score a penalty, I think it might have been, or an own goal or some shit after about 5 minutes. And Chelsea do nothing. They do nothing to try and beat them, nothing to try and score, no risk. They get the ball and then there's no decent forward pass, and they turn around and pass it backwards. And I've observed this to my uncle who's got a season ticket at Stamford Bridge. He goes, that's what Maresca does. He just wants to keep possession. And he's like, that's why Palmer's not having a good season, because Palmer's a maverick.
Yeah.
And Maresca's not into that.
Yeah.
And at no point did I feel like he really got Chelsea building, and he had enough time and good enough players to do it. And I didn't really feel that he did or could. And also, like, I really hated the way he kicked out Raheem Sterling at the very beginning. It's like, who the fuck are you? Not that like you can't get rid of players and be ruthless, that's part of the job, but he was such a prick about it that it just made me think, actually, you're a prick. And it's possible to be a prick and be a good football manager, but it felt like I get the sense of you as someone that a group of young men are going to be like, why the fuck should I do what you say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly enjoy his football. It's quite sterile. I don't think there's any evidence in his career that he's ready for Manchester United. And you can kind of laugh at it's 13 years of absolute crap. Who are we to demand the best in the world, sort of thing? And yet, he's had a bit of a spell at Leicester, and then he's won trophies at Chelsea, but it was the Conference League and the Club World Cup where he played absolutely nobody until playing an absolutely knackered PSG in the final. So I don't give him much credit for those. I can't say he's very high on my list at all, but he's available, But again, I don't think they'll appoint him unless they're appointing him now, because what's the point in doing interim to full-time? So I don't think they're thinking about him. Enrique, we didn't really mention. He said he's not signing a new contract at United. They tried. They talked to him before.
I mean, if we could get him, he's my number one choice.
He's got the record. He plays good football. It's exciting football. With him. He played young players at PSG, got all the stars out, and played young players and still won. So
and he seems to be a decent bloke who the players will respect as a manager and as a player. And I mean, if we could get him, I don't have to think about this for very long at all.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And then one...
If he's going to City, though, no?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Well, I mean, isn't part of the thing
which means he's not
good. City asking...
He's a fucking arsehole and I hate him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and he's shit. He's won nothing. Yeah. Interesting on City because they haven't said yet whether Pep's staying or not, and we haven't got the verdict on the 115, and that will impact who gets the next job and all of that, So there's not a lot of certainty around that. And were they sounding out Maresca because he's a Pep disciple? It sounds like it because Maresca told Bowley because it was in his contract that he had to do it. And
that felt weird. That's you trying to get fired. Why don't you just not tell him? Because if he doesn't tell you, if you don't tell him, then he doesn't know that you've done it. So I mean, yeah. I suddenly developed an honesty that just so hard to believe that he felt obliged. Like maybe it's just like you become cynical about football and humanity. I don't know, but the idea that Maresca had that conversation and thought he had no option other than to fess up. Are we just accepting that? If we're just accepting that.
It's hard to flirting believe. With some girl in the office and then telling your wife. It's terrible idea all round. So the one mention quickly for Hoeneß, who I think a lot of people like his football and what he's doing in Germany. The risk, of course, is like
Stuttgart versus United.
How do you translate that to United? He plays, aggressive attacking football. I think
he plays 4-4-2 as well.
He does. I think a lot of people would like his football at United. It doesn't translate very well, but
if he plays 4-4-2, then that's really no Mano or no Bruno.
Well, true. Yeah.
Like I don't know exactly how he does it, but how the fuck can you play a 4-4-2 in the Premier League? Like you need Robson and Keane,
basically. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's got his ways. I don't know with whether it's fullbacks or wide players, but I don't look at. I mean, I guess with this squad, you do have the wide players. You do have. I guess you could play Ahmad on one side and Cunha on the other, and then Bruno or Mbeumo up front. Say you could do it, but the other thing you'd sort of need is wingers playing on the right side, right? To put the crosses in. It just feels it's not going to be Sebastian Hoeneß. There's not a fucking chance.
It seems unlikely, but it's one I think United fans would like. One we haven't mentioned.
The fuck ups also means that they're not going to take a risk. I wouldn't have thought on this one.
No,
they're going to try and work out who is the surest. Not the surest thing because there's no. Who is the likeliest to succeed that they could get?
Yeah,
because these are their asses are surely on the line here.
As they should be.
Wilcox? Wilcox can't survive another fuck up.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Marco Silva. He's also out of contract at Fulham. I mean, he's doing a good job with Fulham, but that's with Fulham. Watford, Everton, Fulham. Is that a track record for United?
He's good, Marco Silva, despite gobbing off about how he outsmarted Amorim. He's sneaking a 1-1 draw.
Apparently, that interview got on Joel Glazer's radar. And
it didn't sound good.
It didn't sound good at all.
It did not sound good because even though it wasn't like they won or anything, two people dissecting your system in front of everyone, and there was some evidence that happened on the pitch. I mean, Fulham was the one for me. I said at the time where that was like, okay, it's going to be another one of these seasons, isn't it?
Mm.
Because I could see,
We did that pod after that game, didn't we? And we were like, oh, this is not good. Yeah,
I can see what this is going to be like now. And yeah, I mean, if you get Luis Enrique, you're not going for Marco Silva, are you?
Very true. Very true. Who knows whether Enrique wants time out with his family and all of that after a lot of
Are we seriously saying that if you decide that the Iraola or fucking Marco Silva, they're the guy, why can't you get them mid-season exactly? There is a number, and it will be less than what Champions League football will give you, that we'd force the clubs that they're at to let them go.
It's also on them. They may decide that the summer is a better time to do it as well, of course. Given what has happened to Amorim after the last mid-season appointment, they may decide that they'd much rather take less of a risk. Of course, you may only get this opportunity once because the market's so much more open in the summer. Like, if they approached, say, Iraola and said, hey, you interested, mate? And he was like, no. Suddenly there's 8 or 9 other managers available, potentially, in the summer. And for all United's fuck-ups, the cachet is still there for managers.
Would you look at someone else? I might look at Fabregas.
Como, yeah, if they'd let him go. I mean, I
don't know if you could get him out of there at this point, but he's got some presence. The squad would respect him.
He's a gooner, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's... And then I was like, is that, I was about to say, is chucking a pizza at Fergie in the tunnel?
Can you imagine?
There been times when we've all wanted to do exactly that.
He'd be on the interview committee, wouldn't he, Fergie?
Yeah, so, is that a deal breaker?
It shouldn't be, but it would be an interesting conversation.
If Fergie was happy to sign off on it, then they're okay, I guess. But I mean, I'm just thinking, like, he is one of the major up-and-coming talents in football, and another one who you thought, as a player, this guy's going to be a good manager. To come in at 17 and be able to boss a Premier League midfield, I mean, almost no cunt's ever done that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, he speaks really well. I mean, I think he's got a bit of that De Zerbi shit going on in build-up that I absolutely despise.
De Zerbi, we can definitely discount De Zerbi because, well, one, he turned down United last time. I mean, they never got to an offer.
And signed Mason Greenwood. That he can fuck off.
And he signed Mason Greenwood. But also, he's got this thing where he falls out with management all of the time. He's having problems at Marseille. And it would be just too massive a risk.
And it's similarly as Tuchel, like with the comb over, the baldness denial is, I'm not sure I'm prepared to tolerate that. Michael Greco situation going on.
Deary me.
But so I guess if we're I'm going to give you my 1, 2, 3. I think is probably, and obviously my number 1 is Darren Fletcher. Darren Fletcher's Red and White Army. Incredible to see. My 1, 2, 3, and I don't know if we could have any of these. Is Luis Enrique, Nagelsmann, Xavi. That'd be my 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Enrique and Nagelsmann are definitely my 1, 2. I don't know which order exactly, because I think they both do a very good job at United. 3, Xavi, at the risk of translating Barcelona football to United. Whew. Yeah. He's also about 5'7". Can we have a man in the dugout that's that small?
True
I mean, I know I generally look down on everyone physically and metaphorically, if you believe the internet. But yeah, that's the only question. I'd have Antonio Conte nowhere near this job, by the way, just because we didn't mention him. I just think just the risk of it exploding is just way, way too high. He wins all of the time, right? He wins all of the time, Conte, but it would just be explosive.
And again, if we are being serious about the kind of football we want to play, and I'm cool with that. Like, I don't want to be totally prescriptive about formations, but I think it's fine to say Manchester United have to play entertaining, winning football. I don't think that's a problem.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
And
can I leave you with this, Stan, as we close out the show? Manchester United next permanent manager odds. This is the aggregator rather than Polymarket.
That's the favourite, isn't he?
Just at the moment. Oh, this is Bet365. Sorry. Next permanent manager, Ollie. Presuming he gets the interim and does well. Carrick. Fletcher, it's never going to be Fletcher. John O'Shea, why is John O'Shea up there? Glasner, Southgate. Danny Roll, definitely not going to happen, no experience. Maresca, Rude. So Rude seems to have been discounted from the interim conversation.
Well, it was a fucking disaster at Leicester.
It was. But that was very predictable that it would be a disaster. So, all right, I think we'll leave it there. That's a review of the managerial situation. What a mess, Daniel. But, that's been every couple of years for the last decade.
Such as the famous Man United, Edwards.
What? It's never a dull moment. You can say that. That's for sure. Good to have you back.
Oh, it's good to be back.
You are not dead, despite rumours on the internet.
Quite dead.
Not yet. Not yet. Getting there day by day. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Check us out on our YouTube page if you're not there already. On Patreon for the extra show. I wrote a piece about Ineos fucking everything that they touch for my Substack, which is very true. One disaster after another, and we'll catch you after the Leeds game. Burnley game. Catch you after that. Bye now.
All right.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.